Hi guys, we're at Sage Studios here in London, and I'm talking with my good friend Fiona Ross. So Fiona is a well-known jazz journalist. You've become a very well-known jazz vocalist, and you started actually, it's kind of a long history, but you have quite a teaching background.
I do.
Tell me a little bit about the teaching, and I never say the name properly. So what were you?
The British Academy of New Music.
Right, and you headed that up for a number of years.
I was
right?
there for about 7-8 years, yeah.
Okay, and you had actually, while you taught there, you actually had some pretty famous students that people that went on to become famous.
They were some famous.
Ed Sheeran, Rita Ora.
Yeah. Jeff
even
Glynne, but I didn't teach any of them.
Ah,
I
okay.
was head at the time.
But they were at the school.
But they were, yes.
So, what was that experience like teaching?
Teaching generally, or kind of
Well, teaching there, I guess, because that's kind of.
It was incredible actually, because before that I was in like a kind of standard further education college, and I came to East London, and the amount of problems that a lot of the students had,
Right.
no money, no parental support, and they needed a lot of guidance.
Okay.
But the passion was music, so they'd
Right.
come there.
So it was an exciting environment.
Yeah, so it was, it was incredible actually.
Okay.
Incredible.
So how many? You said you were there for what, 7 or 8 years?
7, 8 years. Yeah.
Okay, and then how did you make the transition into? You've always been an artist, anyways, even before you became a teacher. But how did you make the transition into deciding I'm going to be a recording artist and go that direction? How did that take place?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've worked in the industry since I was tiny for other people, though, so kind of did session work and things, but never as an artist in my own right. And just reached a point at the college where I'm like, do you know what, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, okay.
And there were some changes, and I was like, okay, this is the right time for me to kind of move on.
Right, you kind of really felt that calling.
Well, but I didn't know what for. Because
okay.
I left the academy. And took about 3 months, and everyone was kind of, wondering what I was doing.
Right.
And then someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, but someone actually said to me, "Oh, I presume you're doing your music now." And I'm like, yes, that's what I should be doing.
Right.
And I had an album.
So it was almost like a sign. Maybe,
yeah,
in a way.
and actually I'd recorded an album a little while before that, but I didn't do anything with it.
Oh, okay.
So I thought, do you know what, actually, let me just release this
Right.
and see how it goes while I make another one.
Right.
So I released A Twist of Blue, which I'd recorded, ages ago. But then everything got crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Everything
and I mean,
got
your
crazy.
albums have done really well, especially, so that was the first of...
First one was Twist of Blue.
Okay, and the second one was the one you most recently released, right?
No, there's another 2.
Oh, there is, okay.
Yeah, there's Just Me and Sometimes Someone Else. That was a double album. And then not long after that, I released Black, White, a Little Bit of Grey. So I released 2 albums in 1 year.
So this last album has actually gotten quite a few critical reviews, really awesome press. It's actually kind of gone all over the world. And so now we're actually in the studio where you're working on your
Yes.
I guess this would be your 4th album then, right?
Yes, my 4th album.
And this is all original tunes that you've written with a great group of musicians. I heard actually some of the previews last night, and it was really awesome, exciting. And it's a fun mix of styles, a lot of great playing on it. So what was kind of your motivation for doing this next album? Was it kind of a theme album, or what was your inspiration?
Well, I think partly I was just kind of, I wanted to release an album a year. So once I realised this was happening, and it was kind of, okay, yes, I can do this, and people seem to like what I'm doing.
Okay.
My plan initially was, okay, well, let me try and release an album, like 1 a year.
Yeah, which is a big task.
Well, yeah, and the thing is...
Because you're independent, right? So
yes,
you're doing this on your own.
Yeah,
right?
But I think the thing is, at the moment, I'm extremely fortunate that I've just got loads of ideas in my head. And I think that's probably because for years I haven't really written for myself.
Okay.
And suddenly I'm kind of songwriter and composer.
Right, yeah.
So I've just got
and
loads
you kind of you really found your groove with that.
Yeah,
right?
so I've kind of got loads of ideas. So at the moment there's lots of stuff going in my head, so I was quite happy to kind of, right, let's get another album out. But there's no theme as such. Someone tweeted about a year ago, and I tweeted a quote, and I don't normally do the whole quote thing. I mean, I do love a good quote,
right?
But I'm not one of those people who's always posting quotes. But I posted this that said "fierce and non-compliant,"
right?
And someone, I wish I could remember who, someone said that's a great name for an album title. I'm like, do you know what that is? So I was like, right, I'm going to call my next album "Fierce and Non-Compliant,"
right?
But just because I like
it kind of makes people, like, it grabs your attention. It makes you think, well, what's that all about?
Yeah. But then when I started writing, I was like, oh my God, what does that mean?
Right.
Like, because this is not me saying I'm fierce and at all. And I started to worry a lot, actually, about how pretentious that sounds, and me kind of releasing the album. And but actually, it's kind of really bizarrely all come into this kind of amazing place, because I was looking through old photos of me, and I was this pretentious kind of diva.
And you kind of grew up going to acting school
I did
and
the
dance
whole stage
school.
right? And I was this very pretentious, horrible, spoiled child, like, to be honest. I mean,
well, I
I
doubt that, but okay.
No,
but
I really
I'll
was.
trust you. Okay.
And then I found all these photos, and because I had kind of big ginger, I'm naturally ginger.
Right.
And I had this kind of big ginger hair, and there's all these photos of me being all stroppy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
and
that's
I've seen a few of them. They're very charming.
Yeah. And I thought actually that I do look fierce.
Right.
So then I started to think about, okay, what fierce really means.
What it means in the world.
Yes.
Right. And it can mean a lot of different things to different people.
Yeah, and I think, in this album, it's a lot more personal than my other albums, and it's fierce in ways people probably won't realise.
Right.
So, for example, there's a song there that's for my dad.
Oh,
now, my dad died when I was quite young,
right.
and it's something for many, many years I didn't really talk about just because it's too emotional, and I just, it was there.
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah, but I've
personal.
written specifically a song for my dad. And that, for me, personally, that's fierce for me, because that's me tackling something.
Yeah, it's a huge, to kind of bare your soul.
Exactly, yeah. So for me,
yeah.
the album is fierce in that way.
Okay.
But the title track I worked really hard on, because I was worried that people would think I was saying, I'm all this.
Right.
So the title track, if people, when they hear it, listen to the words, is actually I'm using quotes from people and reviews. So there's a line that says, I'm going to set the world on fire.
Right.
This is not me saying I'm going to set the world on fire, but someone else said that.
Sure.
So the song Fierce and Non-Compliant is explaining what I mean by fierce and non-compliant.
And you have a lovely group of musicians.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I love them to bits.
I'd say younger guys. They're not.
Yeah, I'm really old.
So young. Well, I don't mean that. But what I mean is like their energy. Because I'm a musician too, and it's nice to play with young players because they have a certain thing. There's a fire.
Oh, honestly.
And you can, as an artist, you get to pull from that.
Yeah, I can't begin to tell you how much I love. I'm so lucky.
So who are the musicians in your band that are playing on the record?
Okay, so Marley Drummond, he's my drummer.
Okay.
Derek Daly, he's my bassist. Jibby Bettini is playing guitar.
Okay. And he's also kind of co-producing with
Well,
you.
and this is his studio.
Right.
No, he's not producing it, but this is his studio, so we record it here.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Adam Hayes is playing some percussion.
Okay.
And Lauren Hignall is on saxophone. He's not one of my ex-students.
Okay.
And I've got Adam Brown on trumpet. But I've got
yeah,
some
so a lot of these
guest
guys
stars.
actually were your students at the school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's also a great story
Well,
that they get to, now they're working with you, and they're really accomplished, great players.
They're honestly, and the loveliest guys. And that's the thing for me. And it makes a big difference. So what we do, I mean, it's hard what we do as a musician. And no one's making me do this.
Sure.
And
everybody's based in London, of course, too.
Yeah,
right?
but honestly, they're amazing.
Yeah. And then so you have some awesome guest artists on this record too. Can you talk about that now? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of who you've managed to arrange for the record.
It's crazy. So I have Snow Owl, the bassist. Snow Owl, Grammy nominated.
And
amazing.
works with Hans Zimmer and a bunch of.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then Snow Owl, he's based in Vienna.
He lives in Vienna, yes. And I flew over there. It was all very wonderful. I flew over to Vienna and we recorded 2 songs in a castle.
Ah, okay.
And they're kind of live takes, actually. We didn't really rehearse.
Right.
We kind of went in this castle for the day.
How exciting.
And it was incredible. And he's mixed and mastered those. So those 2 tracks kind of stand alone for the rest of the album.
Yeah, and I've actually heard you play those for me. And they're
you.
really exciting. And he's a great player, but you guys together, it's really...
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then some of the other players?
Yes, so I have Kim Cypher, and she's an amazing saxophonist, so she's guesting on 1 track.
Okay.
Marco Piccioni, who's an Italian blues guitarist.
Okay.
He's playing guitar on 1 track.
Right.
And I've got another guest, which actually I haven't announced yet, but it's all happening, and in fact, we hopefully recording next week. But it's one of those, until we're in the studio and actually done it.
Right, you want to hold on to that.
Because he's heard the song, loves it, and we're going to do it, and I'm sure it will be fine.
Okay.
But
see, now I'm curious to know who that is. I'm gonna my wheels are turning.
But until we've actually done it, I don't want to say.
Oh, okay.
So I have one, and Maxine Gordon, which is the biggie for me, is doing the sleeve notes.
That's awesome. So you actually, I want to mention that too. So we both write for Jazz in Europe.
We do.
I just got promoted to senior writer, which is awesome. Thank you, Nigel. And so you actually interviewed. You went to Paris and interviewed her,
yes.
right? And so how was that experience?
It was crazy. It was hugely inspiring. Hugely inspiring, and I didn't.
Because she has quite a story.
Oh my God! Well, she was Dexter Gordon's wife.
Right.
And she's written this book, amazing book.
Yeah.
And when I went, I asked to interview her, and it kind of went through the process. That was all fine, and we're trying to organise it. And she was in Paris, and I'm like, well, actually, I'm going to be in Paris, so we may as well do it there. So this gorgeous kind of Parisian cafe. But then it turned out, and I didn't realise this at the time, that she only wanted to be interviewed by female journalists.
Oh, interesting.
Or anyone of African American descent.
Okay.
But it turned out I ended up being the very first person to interview her.
Oh,
and she's an incredible woman, such an inspiration, such an inspiration.
Yeah, that's such a life story too.
Oh my, honestly, and the book is just phenomenal. So, and then I ended up, we kind of talk quite a bit now, and I went to her. She did a book launch event in London at Honest John's. That was so cool.
Awesome.
And I just asked her, if she would do the sleeve notes, and she was like, yes, and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
My but the thing with you is that you put out such a positive energy that I think people that do that in life, they kind of tend to draw that towards them, right? Because people pick up on that.
I guess. I mean, I'm just life's too short.
But that's something. I mean, that's why we've always got along really well, because I think we kind of come from a similar place in some ways. But then also too, you actually your recent interview was at Dee Bridgewater,
right? Bridgewater.
So she's actually on the cover of this new spring issue of the magazine. And so what was that experience like?
Crazy. Honestly, everything I do is pretty crazy, actually. Yes, I've been trying to get hold of, and an interview had been agreed for Dee for ages and ages, but actually trying to kind of pin it down and finally got hold of her. She's an amazing woman, and was telling me all sorts of things.
Like a huge life story.
Well, she's actually one of my role models. She always has been. So it was a huge honour.
So what's that like, interviewing like your role model? It's tricky, right? Dribbling. Because you're a fan, but then you got to do the journalism.
Because you always wonder, don't you, if you actually meet one of your heroes, how you'd be, if you'd kind of freak out or kind of be cool.
Right.
And it's I find it really hard.
Yeah, it's challenging because you don't want to like fanboy, fangirl. I've actually had a chance to talk to Marcus Miller, and I'm a bass player.
Yeah.
So, but then the thing about it was Marcus was such a lovely guy that instantly kind of fell away.
Yes.
And he's a generous person.
Yes.
Just like I think what she was with you. So they kind of make it easy.
Yes. Yeah. But I think I kind of initially when I kind of said hello, I said, just so you know, I am a crazy fan, and if I dribble, I do apologise. And he laughed.
That's funny.
But then it was kind of, okay, let's go on. And obviously a lot of the stuff she was talking about was quite intense.
Right.
Not all of which is included in the article, but we had an amazing chat about lots of different things. But,
and we were talking about that because I recently did, Bobby Sanabria was one of my articles I recently did, and he's like a jazz historian for Latin jazz in the United States, and there's so much there. It's like, I think you were talking about that earlier, like it's almost like you have to kind of choose what you're going to include in the article. And keep their voice, and it's a tricky business.
It's really hard actually, because you're interviewing people, because ultimately it's them. The article is about them. It's not about me as a writer. I just happen to be kind of doing it, but actually it's about the person you're interviewing.
Sure.
So for me, it's just really important that their voice is heard.
Right, and it's authentic. And
it's got absolutely. So, but I love that challenge.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's a fun thing. So when you think this record, the new record, when do you think it's going to be released?
Well, it's supposed to be released April the 18th.
Oh, okay. So pretty soon.
Yeah, initially it was supposed to be April the 7th.
Okay.
So that's not. I don't think that's going to happen now.
And where we'll be able to, I know you have your, what's your website actually?
It's just fionaross.co.uk.
Okay, and there's links for the, obviously all your up and coming dates, show dates are there.
Yes.
But also links for where they can purchase the record.
Yes, everything's on my website.
And where would be the outlets? So it would be like iTunes and the normal.
All the normal places. Yeah, but physical CDs you can only get through my website.
Okay, cool. And a lot of people like to have the physical CD.
Oh well, there's an artist that did 13 pieces of artwork on me, so it's all different sketches and paintings. So the sleeve notes, so I've got Maxine writing, and then actually I'm going to use this artwork, so the lyrics will be on top of this artwork. And then
you're also currently accepting pre-orders for the physical CD.
Yeah, I think that it went maybe last week, but yes, you can pre-order the physical CD.
Cool, and then you guys can do that on her website, and I encourage you to do that because it helps us artists. Kind of, the funding, when you're self-funded, it's a challenge.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I think for me, with the because obviously we don't buy so many CDs anymore, and I don't, and obviously that's the way it is.
Right.
But for me, if I'm going to do it, it's it's a piece of art.
Right. Sure.
For me, so it's not just I'm just going to happen to put it on CD.
And it's something you do when you hand it to somebody, you want to be proud.
And I have this. So one of my things with my last CDs is they look like vinyl. So
okay.
they look like
Oh,
little
that's fun,
records.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for me, it's a product.
Well, I think I
It's
told you
still a
too
thing of
on
art.
this last record that what I really liked is and you've actually produced, right? And you're producing this record.
Yes.
As I really liked the vibe. It almost felt like I was in the smoky jazz club, in Paris or wherever.
Thank you.
And it was a very intimate feeling, and all the bass, the upright bass, and the drums, just the actual sounds were awesome, along with of course your voice. But that was really exciting to hear that. So I'm really looking forward to.
Well, we've got more brass. I've gone to town a bit.
Yeah.
A lot
This
more
next
brass on
record
this
is very exciting. You guys are gonna, you kind of taken what you did in the last one and expanded on that, and it's flourishing and it's exciting.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us. I know she's actually gonna work on some more vocals, wrapping up the recording this afternoon, actually. Yes. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And you have to come visit me in Las Vegas.
I definitely will. I really will. Honestly, I want to. Yes.
So, and she's been my host in London, so that's awesome.
No, it's been lovely having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for joining us, and please check out Fiona's website, and like I said, the pre-order. Look for the new record when it comes out. You can see both of our articles on JazzInEurope.com and in the Jazz in Europe magazine. So that's been awesome, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Bye.